Hello and welcome back. If you're joining me again, the first video I did was on gratitude, and I did say I'd make another of my life lessons, of which I'm still learning. Today I'm going to talk about facing your fears. If you did miss the gratitude one, I'll have a link in the description. Facing fear, what a huge one. I've lived with fear all my life. I think, everybody's afraid of something, some people more than others. But it's definitely been a big factor in my life. And I suppose I've faced up to my fears in little ways throughout my life, but the most significant way that I did that came about 3.5 years ago, when in a span of about a year and a half, I lost 8 people, 8 friends and family to death. And that was a really hard time to go through. One of those people was my very best friend. Her name was Mayanne. She was my confidant. She was my compass. She was my guide. I lost her very suddenly. I didn't get to say goodbye. It was very hard. I felt lost. I felt alone. I didn't know what to do with myself. And Mayanne had said something to me. She said that every fear is rooted in the fear of death. And I said, well, how so? I mean, I'm afraid of rejection. That has nothing to do with dying, does it? And she said, well, what's the ultimate rejection? It's someone taking your life, and therefore a fear of death. Okay. And was I afraid of death? Well, I thought I was. And did all of these deaths cause me to face up to that fear? No, not at first. In fact, at first, I did the opposite. I hid away because I didn't know how to process it. I didn't have the life skills at the time to deal with it. I didn't know what to do. So I just ended up hiding away, retreating from the world, being absolutely miserable. And it wasn't really doing me any favors at all. And in fact, it took 6 months. 6 months after Mayanne had died, my daughter came to me. Mom, I have this song that I really like. I was wondering if you could learn it on the piano and play it for me. And I thought, oh my gosh, I haven't touched the piano in I don't know how long. I'd given up my music a long time ago. So I'm like, well, I'll try. Yeah. This song has started off really beautiful, simple piano melody, gorgeous. And then it quickly began to evolve little by little into something quite enormously different. In fact, by the end of it, it was this giant rock anthem. And I'm like, this is no longer a piano song. But that simple action from her embarked me on a journey, because what that song was saying, it was about a man who had lost his father. His father had died. And so he was remembering the things his father had said to him when he was young. And he was taking all of these things and he's like, I'm going to carry on, And it really spoke to me, and gave me a bit of motivation. Well, then I went and bought the whole CD, and I listened to this CD, and the whole CD revolves around this concept of death and dying, and it goes through this guy's life and his experiences. But another thing it did was it kind of poked fun at death, and so I learned, if I poke fun at this thing I'm afraid of, it makes it a lot smaller. It starts making it insignificant. So that's the first thing I learned, is poke, poke, poke. And the more you poke at that thing you're afraid of, the smaller it becomes. And soon it becomes small enough that you feel you can face it. Another song on that album has the line, "I'm not afraid to keep on living. I am not afraid to walk this world alone." But I was. And that's when I realized I'm not afraid of death. I'm afraid of life. I am afraid of living my life. I wasn't taking charge of my life. I wasn't owning my life. I wasn't creating my moments. I was hiding. I was surviving, but I wasn't thriving. At the end of my life, would I just be full of regrets of all the things I didn't do because I was afraid? Yeah. The bigger fear should be not death, but getting to the point that you're at death and realizing you've never really lived. So that music sparked something within me, and it made me remember why I loved music. It made me remember that, hey, I left that behind. Why did I do that? Because look at the impact that it's making. This is making a positive difference in my life. And the spark began to return. That passion for music, that love began to return to me. I started playing piano again. I picked up the ukulele, started learning that. My very first YouTube video was made an hour after I picked up this, what essentially was a toy ukulele, and I'm laughing. That was the first time I had laughed, and I don't know how long. So that first video is significant because it was that spark returning. Music became my therapy. It became my way of healing, my way of facing things I was afraid of. It became a way of communicating what was going on. And it became a passion. What started off as a bit of fun quickly turned into my absolute passion. And as I began to follow those dreams again and take steps towards that, my life began to change. At first, they were positive changes, but then as it got bigger, actually what happened was things took a turn for the worse. Here's why. This might not happen to everyone, but this was my situation. Think of it as a rose. If you have a rose bush, if you've planted this thing in the wrong soil, it's going to get sick. It's not going to flourish. It's not going to really develop properly. I was planted in the wrong soil. I was in a toxic environment. I was in an environment that didn't allow space to grow as a person. Didn't allow space for my dreams and my passions to become reality. And that sparked a painful process because I had to be uprooted. And I had to be replanted to a place with better soil. It was a painful process, but it was a necessary process. And through the process, I grew. And that's how it is. Change is scary, but it's necessary if we're going to grow, if we're going to bloom, if we're going to blossom. I also liken fear to a cage. So fear is like a cage, but it's a lie, right? It's a big lie, because it says, when you're with me, you're safe. Because, outside of my cage, it's scary out there. There could be a cat waiting to jump on you. You can't get out of this cage. You don't know what it's like out there. It's all kinds of things could happen. You're safe inside your cage of fear. Yeah, are we? I mean, how's that really working out when you live in your fear and you don't really live your life? And you come to the end of it and you've done nothing. Did that work out how you planned? Nope. The only way that we grow, that we ever fly, that we ever reach our potential is getting out of the comfort zone of fear. And when you do, what you find, you don't find a cat waiting to pounce on you. You find freedom. Freedom is on the other side of fear. Fear will tell you, no, you're safe here. You're not safe out there. But that's not the truth. It's a lie. It's an illusion to keep you trapped. The only way you reach your potential, you go for your dreams, you live without regret, you live with passion and purpose, is to get out of the comfort zone of your little cage. Take the necessary steps and then find the freedom that's on the other side. And it's beautiful. And the thing is once you do that, even once, right? You face up to something you're afraid of. It can be big, be small, doesn't matter. You face up to, pick one thing, face up to it. Poke a bit of fun at it to make it smaller. And then start smashing through it. And then the feeling on the other side of that is like, I can take the world on. And then you use that momentum, you use that energy and that feeling, and you smash through the next one. And before you know it, you're at a full sprint running towards your future, fulfilling your dreams, and you're making new decisions because you're no longer trapped in a fear mindset. So you make new decisions which open new opportunities. They create new, beautiful moments. You begin to experience miracles, it would seem. And you have aha moments, these light bulb moments that just happen, and you're like, wow, this is amazing. And it's because you made a choice. You made a new decision to step out and not be controlled by fear. So I have a challenge for you. I want you to take one thing. Maybe it's just something you're procrastinating on because you don't want to do. Or maybe it's something bigger that you're afraid of. Take one thing today or this week. Resolve in yourself to move past the uncomfortableness. Poke a bit of fun at it, make it smaller, and then push through the fear and come out on the other side to the freedom. And then tell me. You don't have to tell me like what it was, but tell me how you felt after you moved past that. What was it like to face up to that thing and overcome it? I would love to hear from you, if you're able to do this, and share with me your joy. I want to celebrate with you. I'm rooting for you. I'm cheering for you because I want you to reach your potential. I don't want to see you live your life in fear or regret. No one deserves that. And you can do this. And if I can face my fears, which were humongous and overwhelming, you can too. So I'm with you all the way. Let me know how you get on. And I'm always here if you want to chat. Thank you for sticking with me. And I'll see you next time.